Good morning. Welcome to class. Grab your 2 blocks. Have your U-size space by the wall because we will almost certainly be using it. And of course, your willingness to feel your body. It's always a good thing to have around. All right, let's go ahead and start with balancing. Make sure there's nothing around you that you can kick front or behind. Take your left foot on the block. You stand up nice and tally. Let this right leg hang for a bit. Now notice I can let my right hip drop and touch the foot to the floor, but don't do that. See if you can keep the right hip up higher than the left, and we're going to swing the leg. Nice and swingy, like as it comes back, you don't let the knee bend a whole lot. This is a hip movement, so we're trying to get maybe some traction in the hip joint. Now you can do your opposite arm, opposite leg arm swing to match. There we go. Try to keep the left leg as straight as you can as you swing that right leg. Awesome. One more breath. And then you catch the right knee. If you're new to balancing, you might need to do this over next to the wall. Just being next to the wall can help give your brain some data, whichever you choose, so that you know you're not falling over. And most of you, when you caught the right knee, the hips came forward. So see if you can not only keep the left leg straight, but you're also trying to reach the hips back. And let the weight of the leg somehow pull the shoulders down as you wiggle your chest up in between your arms. You can do all this work just on the floor if you don't have a block, or if you need to simplify it and make it easier. Letting the left leg warm up, cook a little bit. And now you keep the leg straight. You keep the chest arched up as you push the hip back. You tip the upper body forward. Don't let your body slouch. Perfect. Legs stay straight. And now you're actually going to reach the hips forward. Pull the shoulders down. Lean the upper body back. This may provide you with a double chin. Or not. Forward and back. Trying to get into all the different ranges of motions we have for our hips. As the joint name suggests, it's pretty cool. It's pretty hip. And then you come back to center. One more huge breath. And now the best part, we come out. As you walk around, make sure you don't look down at the floor. You want to keep your head up. As you compare the sensations in the left and right leg. And then using your foot, you flip your block. So you have this nice, wonderful, fresh side to impress upon it your existence. You stand on the right foot. Same setup here. You let the left leg hang a little bit. Even though I'm picking my left hip up higher than the right, I can still let the weight of the left leg hang. And now we swing. Start out slow and easy at first. There's no rush. And then you add the arms. Can you keep your right leg straight? It really wants to bend. The sound effect for the leg swing is vroom. Don't slam your toes on the floor. That would give you a kind of bone flexibility that we're not after. Here we go. Just a couple more breaths, a couple more arm swings. And now, boop, without falling over, you catch the left knee. And then you arch up, let the arms be straight. How heavy can you let your leg be? Feel all that twitchiness in the right ankle, that's what we want. Your foot should be sort of, like it's being electrocuted almost, that twitchy. Now can you reach the hips back? We are inhale-centric in this practice, meaning that all of our attention is on inhaling. Keep the right leg straight, you fold forward, don't bend the right knee even a little bit. Keep the chest arched up, and then you go back and forth. Now as you lean back, you push the hips forward, still relaxing the leg away from the chest. I didn't pull my knee in. Wee, forward and back. If you haven't noticed that you hold your breath throughout the day, you totally do. Start to see if you can pay attention to that. For the simple practice of catching it, and then you take a deep breath. One more inhale, one more repetition, forward and back. Ooh, goodness. Very nice. You come back to center. One more breath. Don't fall over. 3, 2, walk around. This time, though, you're going to walk backwards. And as you walk backwards, same idea, no falling over. You're comparing, you're feeling the difference. Beautiful. And now let's stretch your calves out. So you're going to take your block into its widest dimension. You slide the foot so that the arch of your foot is as high above the corner edge of the block as it can be. Make sure the left heel is on the floor. You straighten the left leg. Notice that my right foot is just slightly out to the right. The wider and further apart your feet are, the more stable this will be. And the less range of motion you need to stretch your calf. Go ahead and get your arms behind the back. You keep the left heel down and you fight to push the left knee to straight. Very good. You keep pushing the left knee back. Try to pull the toes up towards your shin. For this very sensational, that's a very sensational stretch. And play around with lightening the back foot. I get curious, what would it take to maybe possibly pick up the right foot and balance on the left? Yeah. Make sure you're breathing. You shake that out. Flip. Second side. Remember when we're doing different postures, the postures are the way that we get access to feeling. And so if you try to pick up the back foot in a moment and nothing happens, something's happening, totally happening. It just might not look how you think it should. And so we take all those shoulds, shouldn'ts, all the supposed to, all the what it was like versus how it is now or what it's going to be like, and yada, yada, yada. Set it all on a shelf and don't worry about that stuff. And instead, you take deep breaths and you stay curious and feel what's going on in the leg today. What's the main thing that's happening as I try to balance? Pull the right toes back towards the shin. Right side is typically worse at balance. It's much tighter. So you may have been able to pick up the foot first side. And this side it might be like, no way, totally not going to happen. We call those either breath opportunities, inhale opportunities, to which we say, of course, inhale, yeah, or you chuckle. Start to lighten the weight that's in the back foot. You can do a little tap, tap, taparoo, and then if you can, you set that left foot on top of the right. Ooh. Try to keep all the twitchiness in the right foot. 3, 2, ha-ha. Shake it out. Awesome. And now let's make our way down to the floor for down dog. So the setup for down dog is having the feet, the hands mat width apart. Shoot. Pinkies off the edges of your mat. You walk the feet back so there's a good distance for you to be able to arch the chest up. You alternate take dogging the hips, see what's going on in the body, and down dog. Beautiful. All right. So down dog is taught in many different ways, and how we instruct down dog in the yoga Bretta practice is distinct and it's purposeful, not better. So you keep the knees soft, try to point the tailbone towards the ceiling, and then you arch up between the arms. I'm trying to point my sternum, my chest between the hands. Again, this is not a neck movement, so it's independent of the neck. You want to keep the neck long. Grab with your hands. And I want you to have this sense of solidness in the shoulders, this feel of the shoulders pulling away from the ears. Shoulders and ears are never close to each other. All right. Now we slide that left foot over towards the center, and then we take the right leg back up. So my left heel's reaching down. You can keep a slight bend in the left leg if you need to. We don't want any stretching in hamstrings. Very good. And now reach the right heel away from the right hip. You can point the toes if you like, but how long can you make your right leg be? Don't change the position of the left foot. You keep the ball of foot right there on the floor. Can you try to point your left knee to the left? So I'm rotating the femur leftward without pivoting on the foot. One more breath. Reach that left heel down. And then we switch sides. Oh, thank goodness. Right heel reaches down. You set your spine up to win. You arch it up. Reach the tailbone towards the ceiling. As that right heel settles towards the floor, you make sure that the ball of the foot, particularly the big toe side of the foot, is down. And as you continue reaching that right heel away from the right hip, you now reach the left leg up and back. So I haven't bent the left knee, keeping it straight for now. Grip with your hands, crush the fingertips into the floor. And now you reach the left leg away from the left hip. How long can you get it? Without pivoting the right foot, try to rotate the right knee over to the right. One more inhale. Bring that leg down. Ooh, softly you touch the knees to the floor. We come all the way to elbows. Take a gander at your fingers and your hands. Most people, if they are going to get issues with the wrist from yoga, it's on the pinky side of the hand. That's why we have you crush the index knuckle side of the hand into the floor. But if you look at your hands, notice that there's a pattern of redness on your hands. And most certainly it's more towards the pinky side than the index finger side. So that tells you where the weight was pushing through the hands to the floor. So if your wrists hurt, remember we have these simple processes we do to take care of the wrist. You don't ever ignore any pain in your body. So to help decompress those little 8 wrist bones in the hand, spread the fingers wide. And now with the hands and fingers spread wide, you wiggle the fingers. And you make a tight fist like you're crushing a lump of coal into a diamond and you roll the wrists. Awesome. Grab a block. Set the block between your elbows. Forearms parallel. Looking down at the floor without crunching the back of the neck. Elbows are bent at 90 degrees. Knees are under the hips. You push through the hands, straighten the arms. As I straighten my arms, my elbow pits are pointing forward. And notice, winning up in. Get the inside of the hands down as you grip, grip, grip with the fingers, and we lift and lower the block. Notice as I straighten my arms, I'm not taking my body forward. My hips basically stay exactly the same position every time. Last one. Perfect. You set the block down. You get rid of it. Take your hands under the shoulders. For down dog, you set yourself up. Push all the way back. Arms straight, hands wide. We're going to do our little baby down dog push-ups. So the whole time my hips stay high, I shift the shoulders forward over the wrist, using my hands. I pull the shoulder blades down. Remember, my hips are high, so I haven't let the hips sink down into something more like a plank. And then I reach the hips back, not dive in the head and chest. And then we go forward and back. You can roll into tippy toes as you come forward. More is not better. So you want to stop just where the shoulders are in line over the wrists. Almost there. Last one. Beautiful. Push all the way back into down dog. 2 more breaths here. Can you relax? Can this be a recovery pose for you? All right, you sit your knees down on the floor. Take the block back between the elbows, and now you've got options. So you can do the first variation we did, or you can try the second one. You will either do 20 of our first variation, or you do 10 of these. So one of the ways you can get your arms stronger, especially if you can't do something like come into elbows down dog and lift and lower the block without the legs down. You can't do that. How you strengthen the musculature that does it is you work eccentrically, also known as with gravity. So you set yourself up in the position. You straighten the arms, keeping the shoulders back. You curl the toes under, straighten the legs. My knees are still soft. You lower, lower, lower as slowly as you can, and then you touch the knees down. Both elbows touch at the exact same time. You don't touch one elbow down then the other. Simultaneously, the elbows touch down. You don't slam your elbows into the floor, and the knees touch down afterwards. So you can do a combination of this and the other one. Either way, you're doing something, even if that be lie down, take a nap, and you breathe for the rest of class. Lower slowly as you can, and then you re-straighten the arms and touch your knees down after you finish one. Over and over you go, do, do, do. Arms straighten, legs straighten, elbows bend, knees to the floor. Or somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where. That's what happens when you're having so much fun, isn't it? We'll go ahead and just do 2 more. Last one. Perfect. Get rid of the block. Hands underneath the shoulders. For this variation, we are going to start on hands and knees. Drape the spine towards the floor. Keep the shoulders down. You curl your toes under. And without turning yourself into Quasimodo, you pick the knees up 1 inch. You're a table. That's pretty cool. Except you're a very non-long lasting table. Okay. So from here, you push back into down dog. Notice that I did not start navel gazing, although your navel is cool. Keep the chest up. Then you shift the shoulders forward over the wrists, knees 1 inch off the floor, drape that belly. Go back and forth between these 2 positions. Arms stay straight the entire time, especially as you come forward. If this is too challenging, just do our first variation, our little baby down dog push-ups. Naps are coming. Ooh. Feel your legs. We just did a live taping of our Yoga Better 100-Day Challenge, day 36. Spoiler alert, it involved jumping. Let's go ahead and do 2 more. Last one, you hang, knees just above the floor. Oh, 3, 2, set those knees down. Spin around. Take your hips about 16 inches from the wall. Let the body lie all the way back. You take your legs off the wall for second best yoga pose ever. Yay! Hey there, it's great to have you in class. Alrighty, so now your legs are up the wall and you get to just, don't worry about a thing. Let the arms recover. Notice any difference in the feel of your hands. See if you can feel circulation from the feet, the blood and fluid draining. What do you call it when there's a thundering day that just zaps you of all your energy? What do you call it? You would say it sure is draining outside. All right, now you locate your blocks. Where are those things? Oh, there they are. And then you use your foot if you need to. You slide it closer to you. We're going to use it in just a moment. Wiggle the toes. Take a look at your feet for a moment. And think about when the last time it was that you felt your feet without your feet complaining first. May have been the last time you were in class and we did this process. And now see if you can just wiggle the big toe. And then you see if you can wiggle just your pinky toes. And now spread the toes wide. Go ahead and pull the toes back towards the shin. So you dorsiflex the ankle, and then you spread your toes wide. How far can you get your pinky and your big toe away from each other? And now with your toes spread wide, close your eyes, see if you can feel the space between them. Now you may not have space between your toes. If you don't, you just feel how spacious your toes are. And consider walking around barefoot every now and then so you get better at this thing called feeling your feet. Wiggle the toes. And you keep the lower back off the floor, feet off the wall, you shake them out. Feel the jiggliness of your calves. You're getting jiggly with it. Na 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 na. Roll the ankles one more time. Beautiful. Bend the knees. We can go ahead and set the feet all the way down to the floor. You can scooch back a little bit, especially if you know that you're not the best at this. We're about to lie over a block with the legs up the wall. If you're unsure, try it out. If you can't get your hips down, you do a little scoochy dance. Everyone comes into ramp pose momentarily, so your hips are up high. And you slide that block as close to the shoulder blades as you can get it. And then you proceed to take the hips down on the other side of the block. Once you've got that happening, you take your legs up the wall. They may need to be bent at first. Eventually you can straighten them. I could not even begin to do this when I started this practice. And so your options include sliding away from the wall a little bit. Not a big deal. You don't want to be too far away because you can't have the legs up the wall. The other option is you can take you bend your arm, you take it back behind you. You can lie over your forearm. You can lie over the hand. You can roll up a towel. If you have none of those things near you, or none of those things work, you just imagine you've got something under the back and you keep a nice little hollow, that's right, hollow underneath the lower back. Now you use your attention, your awareness to feel where your limitations are. I was referencing this earlier, how and why we're inhale-centric. If you go ahead and take one of your hands on your belly button, and you take another hand high on the collarbone, close to the throat, if you were, strangling yourself, how high the hand would be on the throat, it's above the collarbone. And you take a deep breath. Almost certainly what you'll feel mostly is the belly move. And when the belly moves, that's diaphragmatic breathing. It's what most of us do, especially if you're slouching. You actually can't do the second mechanic. And now see if you can feel the second one. As you inhale, try to get the meat underneath your hand, the top hand, to expand. Can you feel a contraction in the neck? Can you feel the rib cage rise up? And if you're lucky, what you'll feel with the hand that's on your belly button is actually a sink closer to the floor. And then you exhale. You try it again. In the beginning, you might not be able to feel any movement. It might just feel like nothing. If that's the case, just keep giving your body a reason to get good at this. You have to inhale pretty long and pretty full to get the neck to turn out. So you may not be breathing long enough. And then you imagine those hands are still there as you continue to breathe, but you relax your arms down by your side. All right, now we work. You push your hips down into the floor. See if you can contract the musculature along either side of the spine. And what would it take to lighten the weight of lower back on the block? And once you get some kind of contraction back there, then you can lighten the weight of the legs on the wall. Legs should then shake just a little bit. But you don't pick the head and shoulders up. 3, 2, relax the legs down. You're welcome to stay right here if you'd like. And I recommend you come into back bent hand position. So I set my hands as deep under the shoulders as I can get them. My hips are still on the floor. My legs are still up the wall. Hands are deep under the shoulders and as wide as your mat, pinkies off the edges. And so the setup for how we teach back bending, it's awkward at the beginning, but you have so much more room Once you push up, which we're not fully pushing up from here, but we're going to practice the most challenging piece of back bending. So your job is to keep the hips pushing down. Even if the feet don't come off the wall, you lighten the touch of the feet on the wall, and then you push through the hands. Can you get your upper back off the block? Squeeze the elbows in. 3, 2, relax everything down. Let's go ahead and do that 2 more times. Hips push down. You lighten the touch of the legs on the wall. Squeeze the elbows in. Push through the heels of the palm. Try to get the lower back up. Chest up, head up, relax down. 1 more time. You push. Inhale. Awesome. Everything relaxes down. Let's go ahead and take the feet to the floor. Roll off the block. Yay. Come straight back onto your back. Legs up the wall. Once you get the legs up the wall, imagine we've glued your pelvis to the floor. You don't let the pelvis move at all. Arch the chest up. See if you can slide the shoulder blades down, like you're tucking them down towards the hips, and then you relax. And the nature of the skin along the back is once you've relaxed, it'll sort of keep the space we want in lower back. So you're not compressing. Encouraging your discs to squirt out, which is what spinal flexion does. Roll the head on the floor, check out your neck. And now you take some deep breaths. Slide the blocks out of the way. Oops. Alrighty. So don't worry about it if the wall is in the way. Actually, don't mind that at all. Bend the knees to 90 degrees, keeping the lower back up. We drop the knees over to the left. Stack the right hip on top of the left hip. Left hand catches the top of the right thigh. Right arm comes straight up. You pull the right shoulder blade down, then we open the chest up towards the ceiling. And that right arm hang out. You don't want the shoulder to come up, so make sure you pull it down. So my pelvis is trying to point leftward as my chest is trying to open up to the right. These spinal twist positions, they are pretty easy to slouch in, and that's exactly what we don't want. So the image we use is you imagine that I've got my foot right in your lower back, and you're trying to arch up off my foot. Now we'll slide this left hand all the way up close to the hip, and you're going to wiggle the heel of your palm all the way up in there so that you can then push the femur. So I'm pushing my femur, I'm pushing my hip away from my body. I'm trying to lengthen the right side of the waist. Deep breaths. Looking for traction. I don't know why I like this pose so much. Maybe it's because it's so attractive. Could be. All right, good. Now remember and feel all the space we've opened up along the right side of the body. Your job is to keep it there. You relax the left arm down, and we're going to open up the right hip over to the right, trying to pull the thighs into side splits. Notice my knee isn't coming closer to my body. It's not coming further away from the body. That's what's nice about having the wall there. It helps to keep you honest. I'm not reaching my foot out and letting the knee come in, or vice versa. I'm keeping the foot basically where it was when it was in the twist. And now left knee pushes into the floor. Try to get the right knee further over to the right than the right hip. Arch up, and then we open and close the legs. You're going to roll back onto the left hip. You stack the hips, so now we're back into our twist. And then you open again. If this is going well for you, you can do the same movement, but you straighten the right leg. So that right leg is straight as it reaches over to the right. But only if the hips feel stable. And the easy thing to do is to have your awareness on the right leg, but instead, can you really feel that for you to keep the left leg down, gluteals have to turn on. All the meat that's on the outside of the hip. Last one. Keep that left leg pushing down. Reach the right leg rightward. Arch up, arch up. 3, 2, perfect. Help that left leg up. You square yourself up so you're not cattywampus, whatever that means. And then you shake the legs out and you feel the difference. All right. Bend the knees at 90 degrees. What's going on here? There we go. Keep that little hollow in the lower back as we drop the knees over to the right. You roll all the way over, keeping both shoulders down. Arch the chest, the left arm comes straight up. And then we open up the upper body over to the left. Right hand comes atop the left thigh. And now you fight for a natural curve. Eyes closed as you breathe. Now remember, inhaling, breathing is more challenging when you either put body weight through the arms, so you load the upper body with weight in something like down dog or a handstand, forearm stands, any pose where you ever have weight on the arms, it's harder to breathe. When you're in a back bend, anything spinal extension like reading pose, and then twisting. And we're in 2 of those positions right now, so we're twisted and you're fighting for an extended spine. And we use these opportunities to get stronger. So there's a pull for you to have, take some more shallow breaths. And so you fight that urge by slowing down your inhales, staying present to what's happening in your body. Now we slide that right heel, the palm all the way up to where the femur and the pelvis meets. You try to straighten the right arm. It'll push. You're trying to push the left hip away from the body. How long can you get the left side of your waist? Still inhaling. As you're exhaling, can you relax your belly? Wonderful. Right arm relaxes down. And keep the knees bent. We open up the left leg over to the left. Both knees are pushing away from one another. My right thigh, can you feel the right knee pushing into the ground as that left leg reaches over to the left? And then here we go. You open and close. You roll all the way onto the right hip before you open again, and then you try to get that left hip on the floor as well as the right, without the right thigh coming up. And again, if you can, you straighten the left leg. Last one. You reach that left leg leftward, keep the lower back up. Can you shake from the effort of pulling the legs into side splits? 3, 2. You help the right leg back to the center. Legs up the wall. Close your eyes. Take a couple moments. Feel the difference in your legs. Feel how much your capacity to breathe has changed. You let go of any part of you that is either trying to yourself be different than you are, or trying to make life look a certain way. And you give yourself the next moment, the next minute or so, to actually just notice what's actually happening. You feel the sensation of your feet on the wall. Can you feel the coolness of the floor under your body? As you take this next breath, notice if there's any emotion present. You don't have to feel all of it right now, just some of it at least. Relax your belly, all the meat around the hip joint, your thighs, around the knees. And now you feel your jaw. You relax the throat and the neck, all the way around the back of the head to the forehead. Behind the eyes, around the bridge of your nose, around your teeth. As long as you are alive, you're going to be dealing with stress. And remember that stress is actually a good thing. It's more helpful than you could possibly imagine. But the problem is never setting it down. And the truth is it's great if you can sit and meditate for an hour or 30 minutes or every day at the exact same time. But if that's not quite you, even finding a minute where you can sit down and close your eyes and just feel your body. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Trying to find ways to support you, for you to support yourself. And especially when it comes to our health, we tend to have this ideal of what it should look like. And that'll often thwart any effort at all. So if you haven't given yourself a high five recently, for your willingness, for all those little bitty things that you do no one knows about. Whatever the thing is for you, take these next couple of breaths and see if you can take a moment to just appreciate yourself. Appreciate your your life, the people in it. Even if it's just as simple as your ability to breathe. And now you start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Make a fist, roll the wrists. We're almost done. I got one more little thing to do. Lower back up. Take your feet off the wall. Take the arms up to vertical. Give everything a nice little shake. Alrighty. Take your feet down to the floor. I want the toes touching the wall. This will help us keep weight towards the arms. Remember, we don't do things the easy way necessarily, because doing things the hard way gets you stronger within our, parameters of safety. So, toes touching the baseboards. Don't slam your knees into the wall. If you can't push up, that's all right. Give it a couple tries and then you can walk away from the wall. But the goal is to, first, with the hips down, squeeze the elbows in. You push through the hands. Can you get the upper back up? Just like we were trying to do earlier over the block. So you push through the hands. Once you get the upper back up as much as you can, you then push through the heels. Can you pick up the hips without touching the back down first? Whee. Awesome. Bend the elbows. Come all the way down to the floor. Go ahead and do that 4 more times. Beautiful. And now, stay all the way up. If you can't push up into a back bend, just do the best you can. Get up onto the top of the head. You don't ever push the back of the neck into the floor. You can come into ramp pose. Or you can take your nap. One more breath. And then you find a graceful way to come up to standing. And once you do get vertical, you take talk. Oh, goodness. Don't pass out. Remember, if the TikTok doesn't work for your lightheadedness, if you get lightheaded, you take your head below your heart in a high squat. And if that doesn't work, you take your legs up the wall. All right, let's get you vertical for the rest of your Friday. Palms face up. Try to point the thumbs to the floor, and then you reach your wrists apart. Elbows kick on forward. And you are imagining that you're pouring a bowl of soup out the awkward way. I'm trying to point my thumbs down. And then this is the thing we care about for a bad waiter. So all the stuff we do in the arm is really just to give you access to the shoulders down. So as the elbows reach forward, you get your shoulders down. Now, notice I can let my hips come forward or back. So I want the hips over the heels. And then you imagine that someone has a string on the back side of your spine, and they're pulling the belly button towards the spine. This transverse abdominis. It's the main abdominal muscle we care about when it comes to your back's health. That and strengthening abs in a long position. One more breath. Here we go. You stay that upright and vertical. Relax your arms. Close your eyes. Scan your body. See if you can feel the shoulders over the feet. The head over the shoulders. We're relaxing the weight of the arms down as the head reaches up towards the ceiling. Very wonderful. One more breath. And then you open your eyes. Go ahead and bend the elbows. So your elbows are going to be about shoulder height. Forearms are parallel, palms facing each other. And then you Give yourself a high five. Thanks for joining us today. It's been awesome to be with you. You give me purpose, and it's so wonderful to know that you're there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't wait to see you again next time. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Ciao.